to Healthy Perspectives with Jeremiah, a podcast that brings you current social and cultural issues through a clinical lens. Hello. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. For those of you who are brand new, thanks for joining us. Stick around. We've got an interesting one here today. I've got a little game for you, a game that's going to make you wonder or think or ponder or, I don't know, be right, be wrong. And we are doing this one. This is a You're the Problem segment. Oh, who knows what segment we're on now? 19, I guess. It's 19. Wow, I need to write that down. All right. And with this segment, I thought I would do a doozy. We're going to go with, I know I'm late to the game because it's been a week, but we're doing a whistleblower testimony edition. And in today's edition, we're going to make it fun. We're going to make it interesting because what I am going to do is take a therapeutic angle. Now, how am I going to do that? I'm going to show you some clips. And my question for you is, what are we talking about in these clips? Okay, you're going to probably go, what are you talking about? We're talking about whistleblowers. So we're talking about tax stuff. But wait, there's more. Hang on and enjoy the ride, because if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, you're going to get to see these. And if you're not, well, by all means, maybe you should check us out on Rumble or YouTube, because these clips are they did wall-to-wall coverage on the whistleblower testimony. And I picked out some clips because I want to make a therapeutic perspective. I want to take a therapeutic perspective on these clips so that you can see the things that I can see, so that if you're not able to see them, hopefully your eyes will open. And if you are able to see them and you're ignoring them, then let me be real. That's what this episode is about. You're the problem. All right, so let's take a look at clip number 1.
As Hunter Biden accepted a guilty plea, the president and his attorney general have done nothing to interfere with the case, which is overseen by a federal judge appointed by, yes, Donald Trump. Now, can you imagine Donald Trump saying nothing about a witch hunt or not trying to quash the prosecution if it were his son being prosecuted? Indeed, President Biden's traditional.
There we go, folks. Clip number 1. What is this about? Is this about Hunter Biden and his investigation? Or, ding, 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 it's about Donald Trump. All right. We're going to skip forward. I'm going to show you more. Oh, there's more of this. You just wait right there. 126 and some change. All right, we're almost ready. Actually, and no change. 126 and no change.
Mr. Flynn pleaded guilty twice to lying to the FBI. President Trump's Attorney General William Barr personally intervened in the case, and that led the Department of Justice to abruptly reverse course and have the case dismissed on grounds that a federal judge found dubious, to say the least. And that's a quote from the judge. In the case of longtime Trump associate and advisor Roger Stone, a federal jury found him guilty in 2019 of obstructing a congressional investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election by lying to Congress and witness tampering. In response, a sitting president, President Trump, immediately took to Twitter, attacking the Department of Justice and accusing them of employing.
What is this testimony all about? The whistleblowers? What are they testifying to? Is it Hunter Biden and that investigation? No, it's Donald Trump again. Amazing how Donald Trump is showing up in this. Okay, but no, hang on. There's more. There's more. Don't get too excited. All right, at 137 and some change this time, and I think there's actually change in this one. We are going to go 137.13. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are tracking, I listened to nearly this entire thing. When I was out doing some yard work and stuff over the weekend, I had this in my earbuds so that I could listen and find out what was being said and by whom. And so I can just tell you, I am not misrepresenting anything here. I promise you. And I do have a clinical take. This is not a political take from me. It is a clinical take. So wait and watch.
The American people know President Trump pressured the Justice Department, which we're talking about here today. Like, wouldn't that be wrong if someone did that? To go easy on his friend Michael Flynn.
Is this about Hunter Biden or Donald Trump? Again, the same question comes up. This is part of the frustration that folks have. We have a meeting, a business meeting. We're set to talk about our finances. And you show up and you talk about the table in the office and how annoying that silly table is to you. Chances are I'm going to kick your butt out of the meeting, not because I don't love you and care about you, but because you are not prepared to talk about the topic which we are here to talk about, which is business finances. If we had a meeting about the table in the office and you came and all you wanted to do was talk about business finances, but that specific meeting was all supposed to be about the table in the office, you are not prepared for the meeting. And that's a problem. And if you can't see this, you're the problem. I just gave you three politicians who think this is about Trump. And I'm telling you, there were probably 15 more, something like that. It was overwhelmingly Trump oriented, all by the Democrats. Now, in this particular case, that was one of their slants. I'm going to show you another slant that was taken at one point, just because I want to show you it was not all about Trump for the Democrats. And by the way, there were many Republicans who came in, not a lot. Most of them wanted to talk about Hunter and the investigation, but there were many who came in and had other agendas. So it wasn't just the Democrats who showed up to the meeting to talk about something that was not supposed to be in the meeting. I am showing you these because the ones who were the furthest off in the meeting, it's like they didn't get the memo, was overwhelmingly the Democrats in this particular situation did not get the memo. Oh, by the way, this is about Hunter Biden and his connection that potentially links him to the Joe Biden presidency. That's literally what this meeting was specifically about. So that's what the testimonies were geared toward. I'm going to show you one here that is super interesting because it shows you how these politicians are so off base with what they're bringing to the meetings. I understand having an agenda. I do have an agenda. Okay, great. But when the meeting is specifically designed for a specific topic, show up, because look, as a person who votes, if I am voting for these folks and I'm going, you can't even stick to the topic of a meeting, that's a problem. Listen to this next one.
Closing, there is a two-tier justice system. It does exist, but it's not what my Republican colleagues want to say it is, using your story for that. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It's black, brown, and poor people versus everyone else. And I won't accept when Republican politicians look to appropriate the language of the movement for black lives and civil rights to fit a political agenda to defend Donald Trump. This is the two-tier justice system.
Did you hear it, folks? Did you hear what we are dealing with? This is another person who shows up not prepared to talk about the specific meeting agenda items. He had his own agenda. Fine. Y'all can have your own agenda. I'm fine with that. Do these things need to be talked about? Sure. Let's talk about these things also. But when you have a meeting that is specifically set up to do one thing, and people are showing up and they are not talking about the things specific to that meeting, here's what it causes. And this is beautiful because I don't have to tell you in my own words. This is what it causes. And unfortunately, it's another example of what's going on here. People coming in and projecting whatever they want. Listen.
Ms. Brown, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The American people have lost track of your supposed investigation of President Biden. Or is it an investigation of his son, who does not and has never worked at the White House, or another family member? We can't even follow which investigation we're discussing today. Is it the FBI, the IRS, XXX, or something new?
And bingo, we have hit it. We are projecting confusion and chaos and trying to get you to do one single thing. You ready for it, folks? Here's what the agenda actually is.
I know the American people are confused because we're all confused what we're doing here. Nothing this majority has claimed about the president or his.
We are all confused here. The American people are confused. She also, in other parts, said, checked out. Checked out. Why? Because how could you keep up with all of this? The only thing she didn't say was Donald Trump, which, by the way, when I'm almost 3 hours into this, listening to it myself, I got to tell you, I was just relieved that it wasn't a Donald Trump reference. Although I think later on she does reference Donald Trump again. All right. So let me give you the punchline. There is a punchline here. All right. You ready? And it's actually back from this. The punchline came out at 2 hours, 34 minutes and some change. Let's find out. Hold on. 2 hours, 34 minutes and 16 seconds. This is the punchline. Are you ready, folks? I hope you're paying attention, because if you can't see what I'm throwing at you right now, you are part of the problem.
And I think this is important because everybody continues to go after you two, like you're the only two people who were involved in this. You went to work for the IRS in 2008?
2009, correct.
2009. Mr. Ziegler, 2010?
2010.
So you started under President Obama, continued your career under President Trump, and are continuing your career under President Biden. Is that accurate?
Yes,
That is
that's correct.
accurate.
And in your entire career, excluding today, how many times have you talked about who appointed a U.S. attorney?
I haven't.
In the course of any investigation, have you talked about whether it was a Democratic appointee or a Republican appointee?
I have not, no.
Mr. Ziegler?
I have not.
Because it's not supposed to matter, right?
Hello, folks. We have a jackpot. It is not supposed to matter under investigatory purposes. And yet it does. It does. Why? Because everybody's going in there with their own agenda, their own idea. So here's what our takeaway is. The game was, what are we talking about? So the question is, what are we talking about? We are talking about two men in this situation who testified that Hunter Biden and that whole investigatory process was incorrectly handled. And it led to suspicion that possibly there was a reason behind the mishandling that was connected directly to Joe Biden. Why does this matter? Let me tell you. I'll tell you exactly why this matters. It matters because in the clinical world, it's all about trust. It has to be about trust. Relationally, it has to be about trust. If I had an employee come to a meeting to talk about a specific thing, and they refused to talk about that thing altogether, but they would talk about their own agenda item over and over and over, honestly, I would fire the employee. It doesn't matter how good they are. if you can't focus on the things we need to accomplish, you don't belong there. You could be the best at what you do. But if you can't be focused on the agenda, it's worthless to have you around. I'm not saying I don't like you. I don't care about you. I don't love you. You're worthless as a human being. I'm saying you're worthless in terms of making progress. And that's not a good place to be. So my therapeutic take is, if you can't see that, you are part of the problem. When there's an agenda, come prepared to talk about the agenda, not your desired agenda. You're projecting what you want, creating chaos on purpose to get people to check out. And by the way, I'm pretty dedicated to what I do, to learning and growing and understanding culture and trying to put together good information for all of you out there. This was a tough one for me because there was so much talking about, well, not the agenda. And what I was really trying to do initially was learn about this specific agenda, what the whistleblowers had to say. It was absolutely crazy town. This is demagoguery, folks. They come in and they talk about Trump. They come in and they talk about racism. They come in and they talk about chaos, and they try to tell you specifically to check out. And the answer has to be no. I refuse. Why? Let's play it out relationally. If I had a family that functioned like this, I, honest to goodness, would set the agenda and I would oversee it. I would literally oversee the agenda. And every time somebody got off, I would call timeout. I would say, that's an interesting topic, but not for today. So we're going to table that. I'll write it down so that we don't lose it. Get back to the topic every single time. And if that meant we spent an hour doing nothing but recircling back to the agenda. Nope. Hold on. Timeout. The agenda. Nope. Timeout. Back to the agenda. Nope. Timeout. Back to the agenda. Nope. Timeout. Back to the agenda. Folks, it would get old. But what I don't understand is why that mechanism isn't in place in something as serious as this. How do we not have a timeout process? Hold on, let's get back to the agenda. But we don't. Everybody gets to say what they want for 5 minutes, and they literally hijack the meeting. Ugh, folks, ugh. If relationships worked like this, we would all be dysfunctional. Honest to goodness, I don't know how to fix this in the political world because I'm not in that world. There's got to be a mechanism when people try to hijack meetings. There has to be. But I can tell you, I didn't see it in this. I didn't hear it in this. It was nowhere for me to know the process. Does the chairman have an option of saying timeout? Let's get back on track. This is about Hunter. This is about Hunter and his connection to his father and their taxes and how that whole thing, that's what this is about. We can deal with, and I'm not saying that racism isn't important, but we can deal with that next. Stay on topic. Let's deal with this and we'll get to that next. Let's table it. This is not about Trump. We can do that next. This is not about whatever the agenda items were that were being brought in, but there is no mechanism for that. So how did we do? How did you do? Did you identify, was this whole entire meeting, the whistleblower testimonies, what it was supposed to be about? Was this really handled in a fashion where you knew it was about the whistleblowers and their testimony that connects Hunter and his taxes and his illegal activities to the possibility of Joe Biden and his affiliation with it. Did it do any of that? The answer is overwhelmingly very little. Very little. There was some of it in there. You can go back and you can listen, but the vast majority of it ended up being about distractions. Distractions. And that is really unfortunate for all of us. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a clinical vantage point of how this might play out and what might need to be fixed. Again, I don't know how to do this in the political world. I really don't. Maybe they've got mechanisms in place, maybe they don't. But in a clinical world, we would call a timeout. We would table that particular topic and refocus on the actual agenda. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, hey, I know late news, here we go. Sorry about that, but I can't forget to tell you this. I have, my brother and I are going to release the whistleblower not the whistleblower, the Guidos Bros. Sorry about that. The Guidos Bros will release on Monday. Monday, I believe, is the 31st, maybe, of August. Of July. Oh my gosh. I guess it's past my bedtime, folks. I apologize. The 31st of July, I believe that's what it is. And my hope is that you will cross over, take a look, maybe find me in a whole new light. Maybe it'll be entertaining. I think it'll be more entertaining than this one. This one tends to be more serious because I tend to stick with the clinical stuff. But that one releases Monday, the last day of July, and we will hopefully see you there. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you later. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Take a look at the details of our podcast for links to our website and other helpful information.